In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make the gorgeous harvest stitch. You will need your selected yarn. I'm using Karen's Simply Soft in the shade Orchid. I'm going to be using a 5mm crochet hook with this yarn, but you can select the size hook that goes with your yarn. You will also need a pair of scissors and a darning needle for sewing in your ends. This is a beautiful stitch and looks lovely in Karen's Simply Soft because it really shows off the stitch definition, but it also looks nice in a lighter weight cotton yarn. So this is a cotton DK and it just looks absolutely stunning. This is actually one of the stitches that features in my brand new crochet stitch library. So it's this one here. So we'll go through this today, and then if you want to check out this book, there is 100 stitches, borders and motifs. And just so you know, it's available in English, French and German. I'll leave links in the description box below of everything that I've used in this video, but let's go ahead and get started. So you want to begin by making your slip knot, and you can do this in whichever method you prefer. Go ahead and insert your crochet hook. And for this pattern, we're going to be working in multiples of 7 plus 3. So 7, 7, 7, and then an additional 3 at the end for your turning chains. So that's yarn over, pull through, that's 1. Yarn over, pull through, that's 2. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through, that's 4, 5, 6 and 7, and then you would go again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Pause the video, work your chain to your desired width, working in multiples of 7, and then meet me back once you're ready. For my sample piece, I've chained 21, which is a multiple of 7, and now I'm going to add an additional 3. 1, 2 and 3. So now we have our foundation chain and we're ready for row 1. So for row 1, we're going to work a double crochet, which is a US single crochet, into the second chain from the hook. So not the one that's on the hook, we have 1 and 2. So we're going to go into that chain, yarn over, pull through. You'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook, and you've completed a UK double crochet, which is a US single crochet. Those chains that we've skipped do not count as a stitch. We're now going to simply do 1 double crochet, which is US single crochet, in each chain all the way across. So working 1 stitch into each chain. So go ahead, pause the video, work your way across, and then meet me back once you're ready. So now that you've completed row 1, we'll move on to row 2. And for row 2, we're going to begin with a chain 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to turn my work. Now this chain 3 counts as a UK treble crochet, which is a US double crochet. So this chain will account for this very first stitch just here. We're then going to work a treble crochet into the next stitch, so that's US double crochet. We're going to yarn over, insert into that next stitch, so not at the base of the chain, that next stitch across. Yarn over, pull through, you'll have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook, and yarn over, pull through those last 2 loops, and you've completed your second treble crochet. So now we have a pattern repeat, which we're going to repeat all the way across. So it begins with skip 2 stitches, and then we're going to work a puff stitch, a special stitch. It's double puff stitch because we're going to be working 2 into the same stitch. We're going to yarn over, insert into that next stitch after you've skipped 2, and then yarn over and pull up a loop. So you pull up the loop to the height of the treble crochet. We're now going to do that 4 more times. So it's yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 1, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. 2, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. 3, and then yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 4. We'll now have 11 loops on a hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're going to pull through, yarn over and pull through the first 10. So this one all the way over here is the one that we don't pull through. So we're going to yarn over and we want to turn our hook all the way down so that we're pulling through like this and not like this. Otherwise you're going to get stuck. So yarn over and pull through all of those first 10 loops. You'll have 2 loops on the hook. And then we're going to yarn over and then pull through both of those loops to secure that stitch in place. We're now going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to work another one of those into that very same stitch. So we're going to yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop and pull it up to the height of the stitch. We'll do that 4 more times. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 1. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 2. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 3. And then yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 4. We'll have 11 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through those first 10 loops. We now have 2 loops on our hook. And then yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. So we've now done the puff stitch, chain 2, puff stitch in that same stitch. We're now going to skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then work 1 treble crochet, which is US double crochet, into the next 2 stitches. So that's yarn over, obviously we're skipping those 2 stitches, into that next stitch, yarn over, pull through, you'll have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, you'll have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. And again, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. That's the end of that pattern repeat that we're going to do. So I'll demonstrate that to you once more. We're going to skip 2 stitches and then we're going to work a puff stitch into this next stitch. So it's yarn over into that stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and then we're going to do that 4 more times. So yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 1. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 2. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 3. And then yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull up a loop. That's 4. Yarn over, pull through all 10 loops on the hook, and then yarn over, pull through both loops. Chain 2 and work another puff. Yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up that loop. And then we'll do it 4 more times. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then yarn over, pull through the first 10 loops. Yarn over, pull through the next 2 loops to secure that into place. Skip 2 stitches and then work 2 treble crochets, which is US double crochets, 1 and 2. And you're going to repeat that all the way across. So go ahead, pause the video, work that pattern repeat, which is the puff stitch, chain 2, puff stitch into the next stitch after skipping 2. Repeat that pattern repeat, which is skip 2 chains, puff, chain 2, puff into the next stitch, skip 2 stitches, and then 2 UK treble crochets, which is US double crochets. So rewind if you need to, and then meet me back once you're ready. So now that you've worked your way across and your final stitch ends in this last stitch, we're going to move on to row 3. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3 and turn the work. This again does count as a treble crochet, a UK treble crochet and a US double crochet, and it will do throughout the work as well. Now row 3 is exactly the same as row 2, but it's just slightly different placements of the stitches. And row 3 is actually the row that you'll repeat throughout the rest of your work. So we're going to miss this very first stitch because this chain 3 accounts for this stitch. and then we're going to work a UK treble crochet, which is a US double crochet, into that next stitch. We now have our pattern repeat again, so we're going to skip this very first puff stitch, and then we're going to work into the chain space. So this is the difference with this row, and we're going to work exactly the same stitches, but we're going to work it into this chain space instead. So that's yarn over, insert, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And then we'll do that 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over, pull through the 10 loops, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops, chain 2, and then work another one of those into that same chain space. So yarn over, pull up a loop, and then 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over, pull through 10 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then we're going to miss this stitch, and then we're looking for the tops of these UK trebles, which is US double crochets, where we'll work another treble, US double crochet into again. So working into those 2 stitches, and then you're working exactly the same thing all the way across. So you'll work that pattern repeat of the skip the stitch, work into the chain space where you're going to do your puff stitch, chain 2, puff stitch, skip the stitch, and then work 1 treble crochet into the next 2 stitches, which is US double crochet. So do that all the way across, and then meet me back once you're ready. So now you've finished row 3, it's simply a case of repeating row 3 to your desired height. So I'm going to go ahead and add to this, but I did just want to show you a different way of doing your chain 3, because sometimes the chain 3 can create a little bit of a gap at the edge. If you are feeling a bit more confident, you can go ahead and do a stacked double crochet, which is US stacked single crochet. So you can chain 1, turn the work, and then we're going to work a double crochet, US single crochet into this very first stitch. So insert, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2. And then what we do is we're going to stack on top of this. So we're going to go into that stitch just here, and then yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through 2. And that creates our first stitch instead of the chain, and then work into that next stitch. And it can just create a nicer looking edge to your work, and it creates straighter edges. So if you're confident, then you can go ahead and replace your chain 3 for that stacked double crochet or stacked single crochet in US terms. But you just want to rewind the video and repeat the same pattern repeat that you did for row 3 until you build your work for your desired height. So here is what the work is looking like after it's built for a few more rows, and I went ahead and did the standing double crochet, which is standing single crochet at the corners, and you can just see that it just straightens it out a little bit. So if you want to take it to the next level and remove this little gap here, that's something that you can do to make it look a little bit neater. But this is the harvest stitch. Make sure that you tag me on social media if you give it a go, and if you like this video, you might also like this one too.